everyone, and welcome to the Unisys ClearPath webinar series. Today's topic, major announcement, new ClearPath Dorado systems. Let's get started. Our first speaker for you today is Brian Herculow, Director of ClearPath Solutions and Portfolio Management. And with that, Brian, the audience is yours.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. This is an auspicious occasion. We really welcome your presence here today, and thank you very much for signing in. What I'd like to do today is go through the launch overview with you, talk to you a little bit about new announcements for Dorado with an OS between Bob LaFleur and Sam Zertok. Sam will give you an OS 2200 software update with featured updates in application development, security, communications and networking, ease of management improvements, and new offering in our application integration, which is a new product allowing cross-platform application development, including inbound .NET calls to OS 2200 file access. The star of the show today will be Bob LaFleur, announcing all the new platforms for Dorado. Then we'll transition to Ritva Kangasperko, who will run you through all of the information that's available to you, followed by Isaac Levy, who will go through the modernization services that are available. So our ClearPath software strategy has several elements that you have always been familiar with: fully integrated software, reduced operational administrative costs, and our bread and butter is 100% code and data compatibility between software and hardware releases. The first is to make ClearPath simply the best choice for mission-critical computing by retaining the mission-critical attributes that you're used to of performance, availability, security, and data integrity. The second is to add new capabilities in the areas of application modernization, data center transformation, and security. And then finally, expanding mission-critical attributes and adding new capabilities based on industry standards, and they're at the core of ClearPath. So, for a long time, ClearPath and what we stand for, our guiding principles are scalability, solution modernization capabilities addressing demographic concerns, where you can develop, deploy, and manage ClearPath-based applications using industry standard skills and tools, object code compatibility, and a continued focus on price, performance, and value for you. Since 2005, our ClearPath strategy has been to evolve to Intel processor technologies, which you're well aware of by now, to enable ClearPath solution modernization via specialty engines, and to introduce secure partitioning with Unisys developed technology. How have we done? From a technology leadership view, we are recognized in the industry, and we're very proud of the quotes that have come our way. The first from Intel, where Unisys has made a significant breakthrough with its advanced ClearPath architecture, achieving one of the highest levels of security that any systems provider has delivered on the Intel Xeon processor platform. And from the Register in the UK, other server makers could learn a few tricks about graceful platform transitions from Unisys, or maybe even license the technology. What Bob will run you through today and all of the new platforms and where we've come over the transition to Intel is the crux of the next quote from the Register, and that's Unisys simply doesn't get enough credit for this, but its engineers have taken more than 2 decades to learn the eccentricities of the x86 instruction set and create sophisticated hardware environments that allow Xeon processors to run binary code compiled for both Dorado and Libre CMOS mainframe engines. That's a pretty strong attribute. Simply, ClearPath is leading the way to the future for you, our customers. The strategy has been delivered. In 2005, we announced what we call the Next Gen strategy. It's an internal name. It's just an internal name for the architecture, and ClearPath Next Gen has transformed ClearPath with Intel-based technology foundation for the long term, enriched mission-critical functionality, elevated value for your core business applications, exploitation of Intel technology and best-in-class open software, opportunities for significant solution modernization, to assure that solutions keep pushing IT boundaries. But an agile, extensible fabric is our next phase to continually drive mission-critical access across the data center, to enhance performance, reliability, security, and scalability, and to provide an integrated environment for advanced solutions. So what is this fabric that we're talking about? Fabric architecture consists of multiple nodes or platforms with granular partitioning enabled by our SPAR technologies woven together with a high-speed, secure interconnect. Each partition or partition complex hosts an operating system instance supporting customer applications and services. The Fabric Interconnect provides communication pathways both between the partitions and internal to the partition, internal to a platform and between platforms. Management and security are inherent to the Fabric infrastructure, and our stealth technology provides the highest level of security by allowing application communities of interest. Just 3 weeks ago, our stealth technology won the 2014 Tech America Technology Award for cybersecurity. And you can see the quote on the screen from the ATA, where the American Technology Awards single out the best of the best, and Unisys topped the competition in cybersecurity. Pretty strong testament to the stealth technology. And just last week, the stealth solution has been named a finalist in the 2014 American Business Awards in security software. So in transitioning ClearPath to the fabric, back in 2010, where we introduced SPAR technology, our SPAR technology to the ClearPath platforms, we were able to bring external specialty engines into specialty partitions on top of SPAR in a single platform. Transitioning into 2012, we were able to distribute the architecture into individual units where we were able to break the processor memory functionality away from the I/O functionality, interconnected with a high-speed interconnect, which is where we're picking up a lot of our performance gains, along with the translation firmware that our engineers have been developing for years. Moving to today, what we're introducing today is the ClearPath Fabric-based infrastructure, where we're now pulling the ClearPath host OS complex directly into the fabric for a tight integration between enterprise Windows and Linux nodes existing in the fabric, all interconnected with a high-speed, low-latency interconnect. The key elements for ClearPath as far as the strategy are SPAR on Intel Xeon, which is secure partitioning on Intel x86 servers, high-speed interconnect, providing scalability, security, and high performance. The fabric management, which complements the existing mature ClearPath system management portfolio and providing additional capabilities for Windows and Linux environments. A common x86 infrastructure. So instead of having multiple hardware selections from multiple vendors that you would now have to support as a common x86 infrastructure in the ClearPath Fabric environment, specialty partitions will continue, and Q processor, for example, has now been ported directly into the fabric and exists on enterprise partition platforms. Operating systems that we support include ClearPath MCP, the ClearPath OS 2200, Microsoft Windows, Red Hat Linux, and SUSE Linux. The ClearPath Fabric-based infrastructure encompasses all of the new products that we're releasing both today and tomorrow. It presents a high-performance fabric integration with a distributed architecture, low-latency interconnect for intra-node communications, memory-to-memory, secure partition communications for inter-node, a transparent fabric interface to support agility. Today, we're going to be offering support for up to 12 enterprise partitionable platforms, each supporting 1 to 12 secure partitions. Variable partition sizes can be aligned with application workload requirements, and as I stated, there will be support for general-purpose Windows and Linux partitions. Extended security is via the stealth applications that I mentioned, and there will be options to incorporate Hadoop for big data assessment. Between today and tomorrow, we will have introduced 12 new platforms to our clients. For Dorado, the new offerings begin at the entry level, the 4350, which Bob LaFleur will be talking to you about, And for the very first time, Dorado and Intel Performance has now entered the high-end space, and it's a year ahead of schedule. And Bob LaFleur will tell you more about that. To sum up, what we're entering is ClearPath is simply entering a new era, and we're beginning the elements of a software-defined data center and taking that to what we call the fabric lifestyle, where the fabric is organic. It evolves over time. The infrastructure can be added and retired, and it's independent of workloads. Application deployment and migration is independent but dependent on the infrastructure. Workloads are defined and limited by service level agreements, and interdependencies are not the infrastructure. So as new workloads come into the fabric, retired workloads can be moved out. As new interconnect media becomes available, the obsolete interconnect media can be moved out, and the interconnect is agnostic to the rest of the software stack because we're moving the APIs above the hardware layer. So in a nutshell, that's what we call the fabric environment, where it can grow, evolve, and expand over time without having to do a total rip and replace of your environment. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. LaFleur, who will run you through all of the new OS 2200 platforms. Thanks. Bob?
Thank you, Brian. Really very pleased to be able to spend some time with you today and formally introduce the latest Dorado Intel-based systems. And over the next 40 minutes or so, I'll go over the details which really make these new systems extraordinary. We're really at the junction of the ClearPath architectural evolution. The combination of the Intel-based system development that we've had for several years with the next-gen systems that Brian mentioned, and coupled with a new fabric-based infrastructure, which are going to provide a new capability for tying together multiple diverse workloads. The systems I'll talk about today were all designed with these key attributes in mind. Certainly, we're trying to achieve new levels of OS 2200 performance while maintaining the object code compatibility and industry-leading reliability that you expect from Dorado systems. We've got a new state-of-the-art I/O capability that's part of these new platforms, and that's all combined within the fabric infrastructure to provide a transparent integration between the OS 2200 and enterprise Windows and Linux, and to provide a basis for advanced integration capabilities still to come. The goal of these attributes, then, is to help our customers, you all on the call here, achieve your goals, improve the time to market, and minimize upgrade costs, part of that fabric lifestyle that Brian was discussing, where new platforms can come in and come out without a major disruption to your operations. We will allow you to streamline diverse workloads, again, tying together OS 2200 and various other workloads based on Windows and Linux, and give you the tools to modernize your applications, your valued applications that you've developed over the years, to take those into the next level of integration with these new technologies. Now, we're really introducing today the 5th generation of the Dorado platforms on Intel-based systems. And this new platform capability provides new levels of performance beyond the entry in the mid-range that we've had with the Dorado 4200. And it'll match, and in some cases even surpass, the performance that was previously only available through our CMOS technology. There are two major families that we'll be discussing today. The Dorado 4300 series, which actually is pretty much a one-for-one replacement of the 4200 family. It has some entry-level models with very cost-effective, smaller scale OS 2200 processing, and a full mid-range production level series, again with added configuration options to provide further connectivity and high availability features. What's really exciting, though, is the Dorado 6300 series, because this is the first entree that we've had in the Dorado family for a high-end Intel-based platform. And it truly does provide significant performance improvements for both single-thread as well as system performance, and a 70% single-thread increase over the previous OS 2200 processors on an Intel platform. The 4300 series, again, is a entry-level through mid-range performance options for OS 2200. Provides up to 450 MIPS single-thread performance, again, a significant increase over the 4200 performance. It can grow up to 2700 MIPS through a single image performance capability. That's a significant increase, again, in the mid-range space, and really is borderline high-end performance within the 4300. One of the unique features of these platforms is the added memory. The 4300 provides an 8 gigawords of memory for any of the models, so regardless of the size of the system image, you have 8 gigawords of memory, customer available memory for your OS 2200 applications. The Dorado 6300 systems take it up another notch here. We've got a true CMOS level performance, single thread performance of 510 MIPS. That's a significant improvement over the previous designs. We can take the system, we can take the partition performance up to 4200 MIPS. So a single 6300 partition then will exceed any of the CMOS 16-way configurations that we've ever released, including the current CMOS Dorado 800s. And like the 4300, it comes with a staggering amount of memory. You will get, regardless of the performance level you choose, 16 gigaword of OS 2200 addressable memory. So you can use that for further expanding and developing applications within the OS 2200 space. Now, the technology advancements within these new platforms continues. Again, we have a new Intel-based I/O subsystem using many of the same components as the other processors that inside the Dorado complex. It's the highest performing I/O subsystem of any Dorado IOP that we've ever released. It has a flexible design. You can have a single IOP or up to 4 IOPs in order to support your storage or requirements. It has exciting new fiber channel and FICON options, new high-speed connections to match the new storage types that are available in the industry. And as part of the I/O subsystem, we're using the SPAR technology to support selected specialty partitions. So within the ISM in its own little SPAR partition, with its own performance and independent of the I/O partitions, you can have certain specialty partition capabilities, and those are included with the new I/O subsystem. And again, this is all part of the ClearPath Fabric-based infrastructure, the ability to connect between partitions running of various workloads to extend your OS 2200 processing environment. It streamlines the new application development process and becomes the basis for the advanced application integration services that will tie together all these workloads. The high-performance I/O subsystem is a multi-node Intel-based I/O subsystem. It has its dedicated storage resources, again, to guarantee the the integrity and isolate the I/O capacity for the system. It's built with fully redundant components. There's no single point of failure. We put in redundant connections between the I/O subsystem and the processing complex with its own switches and cabling requirements. It has more than twice the I/O throughput of the previous products. We'll talk about that some more. Sorry if I'm a little loud here. Again, it uses the SPAR to protect the partitions from the PSIOP, put them in separate resources as the integrated specialty partitions. And it supports the basic storage that you come to expect on the mid-range and high-end systems. We do have some new fiber channel cards. We have a 4-port 8 gigabit fiber channel and a new 16 gigabit fiber channel card, as well as a new 2-port FICON card. And again, these are standard Intel-based platforms, but it's the Unisys Dorado I/O firmware that has been added to these products in order to guarantee that customers can move their storage subsystems without any thought of migration within that process. Now, I said that we've reached new levels of I/O performance with this new I/O subsystem, and that's obviously a true statement here if you take a moment for the charts on this slide to really speak for themselves. The Dorado 4300 and 6300 utilize the fastest I/O processor that we've ever had within a Dorado platform. It has over 4 times the performance, the throughput of previous IOP designs. And you can see that in the chart up in the top left. Now, if you look at the chart in the bottom right, you kind of see that the total system throughput, it's still the new I/O subsystem has an increased throughput, but it's not quite as dramatic as what you see up on the top left. But in the bottom right, you'll have to notice that it took 4 IOPs in order to achieve the performance on the Dorado 4300 and 6300, where on a Dorado 800, it took 48 IOPs. So it's a significant throughput improvement in terms of the I/O subsystem. Now, the combination of the I/O performance improvements and the new HBAs that we offer, the 16 gigabit HBAs and the quad-port 8 gigabit HBAs, means that you'll likely need to configure fewer I/O processors and channels than you've had on previous OS 2200 systems. So that's an important cost saving and a streamlining of your operations in terms of how you can configure these I/O devices. Now, enterprise storage will be continued, again with support pretty much all the same storage tape and printer devices as we do on the Dorado 800 family. There's support for the latest EMC, VNX, VMAX, and VMAX-E disks. And with features such as fast, you can have high performance via a mix of solid state and spinning media to your enterprise storage infrastructure. So it's the latest technology coupled with the highest performance, all available in these new Dorado platforms. Now, of course, reliability is a major concern of all of our Dorado customers. And the Dorado 4300 and 6300 systems continue to deliver on the rich heritage of reliability and resiliency within the Dorado family. Each platform component is built with the highest levels of internal resiliency and features such as error-correcting memory and fully buffered DIMMs. There's redundant power supplies and hot plug power and cooling capabilities. And this resiliency architecture is continued in the overall system design. The Dorado 4300 offers options for a redundant main OS 2200 processor complex, the I/O modules used in the I/O subsystem, and the management servers. Those are all optional on the 4300. Now with the 6300, we know our customers expect a high level of redundancy, so in those systems they're packaged with the redundant components as a standard offering. So everything you need in the Dorado 6300 will be included to ensure, as much as we can make it, that there's no single point of failure. Both families include redundant internal LANs and the Fabric infrastructure components, so that these components as well as are carried through. And adding additional I/O subsystem modules gives you alternate paths to storage to further expand on your overall system resiliency. Now within the Dorado 4300 and 6300, there are multiple opportunities for supporting diverse workloads. Specialty partitions, which have been around for a good while and are tested technology, are dedicated resources which perform a specific task to help modernize your OS 2200 environment. Each specialty partition incorporates integration software and connection technologies that make it a transparent extension of your OS 2200 system. There are 4 specialty partitions available within the Dorado 4300 and 6300. ClearPath ePortal, which simplifies your access to OS 2200 applications from either the web or from mobile devices. A Windows partition, which supports the EOM for enhanced distribution of printer output, and this partition also provides the URU reporting capability to keep track of MIPS usage for our media systems. We also support the J processor, which provides a high-performance Java environment under the control of the OS 2200, and the ClearPath OS 2200 Q processor for large-scale message integration via the WebSphere MQ software. Now again, tying everything together in the OS 2200 and other workloads is the Fabric-based infrastructure. As Brian mentioned, this is has several components. There's a memory interconnect between the individual processing modules or cells. There's high-speed integration across the cells. Today that's built out of InfiniBand technology, but that will evolve as the market changes. And there's nothing within the architecture that would prevent us from quite easily picking up a different high-speed interconnect. You've got secure communications between processing cells, as we mentioned with the Stealth product and the new capabilities within the Fabric. And all this is combined together within the Fabric to help simplify your networking device integration, the management, and also the individual component costs of the pieces such as the switches and routers that would normally be used to tie together these diverse workloads. So it provides a transparent connection for the OS 2200, for the specialty partitions, for enterprise Windows and Linux capabilities, and for future capabilities to come. And all this is designed, tested, and supported as a complete unified system from Unisys. I'm going to take a few minutes here and walk you through the main components so that you can understand a little bit better of the processing nodes within the Dorado 4300 and 6300, as well as the Fabric components that expand on those particular. Now the first area that we'll talk about is the OS 2200 partition. And so let's take a look inside that partition. And again, we can see this built off of a multiple Intel-based platform design. The architecture uses a standard 2U module that's developed specifically or selected specifically for the main processor component of the OS 2200. On the Dorado 4300 and 6300, this processor module is called the PMM, similar to the SPM that we used on previous Intel-based platforms for Dorado. It provides the full OS 2200 instruction set. It handles up to 128 gigabyte of mirrored memory, again translating into up to 16 gigawords of OS 2200 memory. And the PMM also allows the support of the network connections. And with the 4300 and 6300, we're supporting new technologies for 10 gigabit network connection. Now, added in within the OS 2200 partition, then, is the new I/O subsystem modules. We call that the I/O Specialty Partition module, or the ISM. Again, supporting the latest capabilities with new fiber channel speeds, new FICON connections, as well as the ability to support the integrated specialty partitions. And again, these are standard Intel-based platforms, but there's really nothing standard about the way that we're using them. The development that we have made in the firmware to run in the PMM and the ISM truly sets them apart. And it's that level of integration coupled with our partners, specifically Intel, that really allows these systems to be a full replacement for the Dorado family that you have come to rely on for your application. Now, when you add another ISM to the environment, again, you get additional levels of flexibility. You now can configure multiple paths to the disk such that if anything were to happen with one of the ISMs, you've got additional resiliency features. Now, as part of the ISMs, again, in the separate secure SPAR partitions, we've got specialty partitions. The first ISM comes with the ePortal Business for OS 2200, allows you to web-enable your OS 2200 applications very easily, everything from simple browser access all the way up to a sophisticated SOA offering with web services. It also provides a very easy method for integrating into mobile devices, such as smartphones, the iPhone, Windows, and Android, as well as tablets. The second ISM within the Dorado 4300 and 6300 provides the Enterprise Output Manager capability. And again, for this allows you to modernize your print services used with your OS 2200 applications without changing those source applications. So it's a good way to get into new technologies for printer output and integration with email systems. And as I mentioned, on the systems that offer a metered technology, we also host the URU resource utility within the ISM on a partition so that you can take care of that function within the standard Dorado platform. Now, returning again to the OS 2200 partition we were building, you can add additional ISMs depending upon the model type. You can have up to 4 ISMs. The third and fourth ISMs provide just the I/O connectivity to the OS 2200 environment. So this is a new way of adding higher level of storage access as well as additional resiliency. Now, to further add to the main system resiliency, we offer the high availability PMM standby processor. The HA-PMM, as we call it, is a warm state ready to be implemented if something were to happen to the main PMM to provide another level of capability for the Dorado 4300 and 6300. Again, if something were to happen to the main PMM, you would use the HA-PMM, much like reserve IPs that we've had with previous Dorado designs. And after a reboot, this HA-PMM would then be available to continue to run your OS 2200 operations. With this release, the failover is controlled in a single operator-controlled command, and it really reduces the failover time. Again, we've gone from just a few minutes from being totally down to being up again running with your OS 2200 partitions. And it is available on a per partition basis. So for the systems that support dual partitions, you can each can have their own HA-PMM. So if your shop likes to operate under a belt and suspenders sort of philosophy, I think you'll find that the HA-PMM provides a really valuable asset as part of the configuration. Now, completing the OS 22 partition is the Fabric infrastructure. Again, the Fabric infrastructure ties together the processor and the I/O, but also allows us to communicate with the Dorado operations servers. And with the 4300 and 6300, you have the option of having a redundant operations server to additionally provide resiliency features. Now, in a dual partition system, which is available on selected the 4300 mid-range models as well as the 6300, you actually have twice all these components under control of the operations servers, all tied together through the Fabric infrastructure. And this allows you not only the communication within the partition, but it allows you a high-speed Fabric interconnect between OS 2200 partitions. This secure communication, now it is prioritized between each partition's PMMs and the ISMs, so there's no conflict there. But it does allow you to extend the reach of the OS 2200 partitions. So you can have multiple partitions, a mix of development and production if you want. You do have the capability, even within the non-metered systems, of doing a MIPS reallocation between the similar OS 2200 workload types. So you have some level of flexibility in moving MIPS around to meet the demands that might change on a seasonal basis within your OS 2200 workloads. Now, things really get interesting when you continue to expand the Fabric infrastructure down to the new enterprise partitionable platforms, or the EPPs. The EPPs are multiple partition systems in themselves. They offer Windows and Linux support, as well as a processor, J processor, and Q processor specialty partition capabilities. And they're a shared resource between OS 2200 partitions. So if you have dual OS 2200 partitions, each of them has the available high-speed connection to talk with these other workloads. The FMP, or the Fabric Management Platform, is how these platforms, the EPPs, are controlled. Now, on the EPPs, you can have multiple workloads as well. So you've got the J processor, again, with standard Java, Standard Edition, and Enterprise Edition workloads, integrated with the OS 2200 through the JBoss application server and the Java resource adapters for developing very complete OS 2200 and Java solutions. The EPP also supports a partition for the Q processor, again, allowing you to connect the OS 2200 platform with over 35 other different architectures through the IBM WebSphere MQ software. And that has integration with the TIP and HV-TIP and OpenDTP products on the OS 2200. Now, JProcessor and QProcessor run as partitions within the EPP. But unlike the CSEs on previous Dorado platforms, these platforms will support additional workloads. You can run enterprise Windows and Linux as part of the integration with OS 2200. We support the Windows 2008 R2 and 2012 versions, SUSE Linux for SLES 11 SP3, and the Red Hat Linux 6.4 and 6.5. So even if you don't need a JProcessor and QProcessor, you can still have integration between your OS 2200 and these additional workloads offered through the EPP and the Fabric-based infrastructure. Just a quick look here then under the hood of what you get within the Dorado 4300 and 6300. You can have dual partitions in the first cabinet, again up to 4 ISMs. The 2200 PMMs with the HA-PMM are all supported in the OS 2200 cabinet. A second cabinet provides all the additional workloads, the EPP for general purpose Windows and Linux, partitions on the EPPs for JProcessor and QProcessor, as well as the Fabric management platforms for controlling this level of capabilities. If you take a step back then and look at all the pieces that are available through the 4300 and 6300, you can see how we've really taken it to the next level in providing ClearPath attributes for resiliency and support to the other workloads that are part of your data center. These system components were all designed, tested, and are supported by our Unisys engineering groups. The software has equally been designed and tested as an integral part of these platforms. And the hardware is all packaged and built for you through our manufacturing facility. Now, the flexibility within the EPPs, you can either have that commissioned on site by our Unisys Services organization, or we'll teach you how to, as a customer, you can do that yourselves through the FMP. But regardless of which of these pieces you select and how you configure your system, it's a complete integrated platform that's supported by Unisys with a wide variety of diverse workload offerings. And it really gives us the capability to drop ship the data center into a given customer location. Everything from OS 2200 down to specialty partitions in individual Windows and Linux workloads. So let's take a little time now and go over the specific models that we're announcing today. Again, there are two major families, the Dorado 4300 and the Dorado 6300. At the entry level of the 4300, we have the Dorado 4350 and 4370 systems. These are designed for smaller OS 2200 workloads. They come with either the fixed I/O configuration. The Dorado 4300 has a very nice set of fiber channel and networking capabilities already prepackaged as part of the system. Or you can get a more flexible I/O configuration where you can choose the I/O devices, the types of storage cards that you want on the Dorado 4370. Again, that's all using the new high-performance I/O subsystem. So even at this entry level, we're providing new capabilities and additional I/O throughput for the Dorado family. The Dorado 4350 and 4370 are offered as metered systems. So they have the flexible pay-for-use business models that I'm sure most of you are aware with the ClearPath family. They have the integrated ePortal specialty partitions in every case. On the 4370, you can get a second ISM with the EOM and URU capability. And regardless of, even though they're a smaller OS 2200 workload, they do have the full scalable fabric-based infrastructure. So you can expand into new areas or cover new areas within the same platform for enterprise Windows and Linux. Now this chart summarizes the various features and the performance levels that are available with the 4350 and 4370. The metered run rate on these systems, again, is targeted more towards the lower end of the OS 2200 workloads. Both of them start at just a 10 MIP run rate, the number of MIPS that you would use during an average month. The 4350 goes up to 40 MIPS a month with a ceiling of 60 MIPS, and the 4370 will go up to 120 MIPS per month with a ceiling of 180 MIPS. Again, these are 4300 systems, so they include they include 8 gigaword of memory, so a huge amount of memory available for these entry systems. The high availability PMM options are not available on these systems. These are more designed for fairly non-intensive types of workloads. Here's some of the applications that we see for the 4350 and 4370. Again, it's for maybe a development and test system or a environment where there's a smaller amount of OS 2200 processing, but still could have a fairly robust enterprise workload requirement. If you think of a typical shop with all the print and file servers, with an email exchange server, all of those type of capabilities can be worked into the standard platform, even on the 4350 and 4370. Again, these systems come with the pay-for-use business models, which closely matches the needs of a small organization, where you only really pay for the resources that you need. Moving up the scale a little bit, the next 4300 offering is our mid-range platforms, the 4380 and 4390. Again, these offer some new capabilities or some additional capabilities. You can have dual OS 2200 partitions with more flexible and redundant I/O configurations. You can have the HA-PMM as an option. And again, it continues with the scalable fabric-based infrastructure for additional workload support. The performance ranges on the 4380, which is the traditional ceiling-based performance, go from 50 to 2700 MIPS, and the metered 4390 offers up to 1890 MIPS and a 2700 MIP ceiling. These systems all come including one of the ISMs, and on the Dorado 4380 you can have 4 of the I/O specialty partition modules for additional workloads or additional connectivity and resiliency features. The use cases here then are, again, a new wide range of performance for the mid-range offering, meets most customer requirements, really impressive I/O subsystem with the 4 ISMs that exceeds those available with the Dorado 800 today, and the options for adding the high availability features. Again, the scalable workloads in this environment, we see customers that are very interested in expanding those through the SMA OpCon or some sort of data analysis tools where you're offloading parts of your OS 2200 database and doing additional capabilities or any other workload that you would have running in a Windows or Linux type system. At the very highest end, again, is the new Dorado 6380, 6390 system. These systems are configured as much as possible to be as resilient as we can make them. All of the high availability features that we have developed are included as part of these systems. So we've got dual components on all the fabric infrastructures. We've got the HA-PMM included as part of the standard partition offering. These systems come with 2 ISMs. So again, you have additional flexibility and resiliency to offer or to provide dual paths to your storage. So it really is designed to meet the most demanding OS 2200 workload requirement. Single thread performance on the 6380 and 6390 is 510 MIPS. Again, a major new level of throughput for the Intel-based Dorado platforms. And traditional performance goes up to the 4200 MIPS level. And again, that's per partition. So if you combine the two partitions within a Dorado 6380, you can get over 8,000 MIPS, which is a new high level for the Dorado family in a per system environments. Needed run rates go up to 2,800 MIPS with the 4,200 ceiling. We provide, again, the staggering 16 gigawords of customer usable memory, and the HA-PMM is an included feature. Really is the high-end performance that customers expect from a Dorado system. Things that previously had required a 16-way CMOS platform, we can now do on Intel using only 11 IPs. So it's additional new levels of performance. It comes with both the traditional and the pay-for-use business models. Pay-for-use business models with pooling capabilities help you extend the pay-for-use capability even to multiple Dorado 6390 systems. And a scalable fabric infrastructure that can be used in any number of instances for the high-end systems, such as the Q processor, which is often part of a high-end solution, as well as new capabilities that we'll be releasing, such as the Hadoop capabilities, again tied in and feeding data from OS 2200 databases. This chart shows the basic growth of the Dorado platforms. Again, the Dorado 4300 exceeding any of the performance that we've had with the previous 4000 series and Dorado 400, and the Dorado 6300 truly taking its place as a high-end Dorado platform with performance that exceeds the 16-way configuration even on our Dorado 800 platforms. Now, we've talked about the high availability PMM, and that is a level of resiliency that is part of the Dorado 43 and 6300 offering. We recognize that there are customers that need more of a near nonstop processing for their OS 2200 environment. And as part of that capability, we do offer the multi-host clustering through the XPCL. Allowed some multiple Dorado systems to share this access to a common database, even down to individual records. So in March of this year, we announced a new XPCL, which we call the XPCL 3A record lock processor, and it can support up to 6 OS 2200 platforms, given the latest platform architectures. Today, with this release, we do not have the capability of supporting the Dorado 4300 and 6300 with the XPCL, but that is a planned product for the second half of this year. And I've already been working with many of our customers and our sales teams in order to get that level of capability for our customers. So I'll offer that if any of the attendees here today have need for XPCL connectivity and are truly interested in the 6300 or 4300 platforms, please let us know, and we'll work with you to make sure that you're on track to get that as soon as it's available later on this year. The full release schedule for the Dorado 4300 and 6300 looks like this then. Today we are having our external announcement, and there's a wide variety of resources that we'll be talking about later on in the webcast. The Dorado 6300 will begin shipping scheduled for next month, start shipping with the Dorado 4300 soon after in August. As I mentioned, the XPCL connectivity on these new platforms is in the second half of this year. These platforms do require OS 2200 Release 15.0, which is available now. So if you have an interest, get educated. We've done webcasts on 15.0, and we'll provide a little bit more information here later today. So in summary, the Dorado 4300 and Dorado 6300 offer a new fabric-based infrastructure that supports a wide variety of workloads. Multiple OS 2200 partitions, each with their own I/O and high-performance PMM capabilities. We have specialty partitions both on the ISM and in the EPP to handle integration with the OS 2200 capabilities, as well as the enterprise Windows and Linux through the EPPs for any standard solution that you would be running in your data center. We can then support that as part of the ClearPath family, as part of the same resiliency and support that you have today in trust for your mission-critical applications. And that really is a very expansive feature. We can support up to 144 workloads, partitions, within the EPP infrastructure. So it's a high capacity for any enterprise Windows and Linux partition. The Dorado 4300 and Dorado 6300 delivers on the promises that we've made through the next-gen architecture. New levels of OS 2200 system performance for the Intel platform. Things that we previously could only do with our highest level of CMOS capabilities, we're now doing on the Intel. A new I/O subsystem, which again has the highest performance that we've ever offered for the Dorado OS 2200, and matching new high-capacity fiber channel cards, and the expanded workload capabilities that are available through the EPP. So I thank you for your attention, and at this point I will turn the presentation over to Sam Chertok, who will talk about the OS 2200 software capabilities.
Thank you, Bob. Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Chertok, and today I'm going to share with you some exciting new information about the ClearPath OS 2200 software products. Okay, this is our OS 2200 roadmap. As Dorado servers continue to increase performance to previously unimaginable levels, we want to make sure that our software continues to deliver new capabilities and features that allow you to take full advantage of these new capabilities we're introducing today. We just released OS 2200 Release 15.0 in February, and we're now working on getting our 16.0 release ready for next year. And now, let's dive into some of the new products we're here to talk about. Release 15.0 became available for order on February 26th and includes quite a few highlights. First, we have 111 software products that were developed and tested as an integrated stack. We also have 41 of these products with over 136 feature updates. One of my favorite parts of this release, Release 15.0, is that over 50 of the features we've updated were a direct result of your requests. So Unisys definitely listens to its customers. And as I mentioned, it's already available for order. Now, let's talk about specific products in 15.0. OS 2200 supports your applications extremely well, and in this section, we'll talk about some of the new features we're introducing to help you keep your applications up to date with the latest technologies in the market. First, let's talk about Eclipse. Eclipse is a Java-based, extensible, open-source development platform. It's known for its extensibility, and the way it works is by providing a framework and a set of services for building a development environment from plug-in components. Because everything in Eclipse is plug-in based, all tool developers have a level playing field for offering extensions to Eclipse, and providing a consistent integrated development environment for users. In Release 15.0, we've updated Eclipse 2200 to enable you to develop faster and in a more stable environment. First, you can speed up your development time, especially when it comes to large projects and with many files and folders. We've also improved how Eclipse connects and interacts with large data transfers over Telnet. One new exciting feature is the search and compare functionality that allows developers to locate and compare their files much faster and with ease. And lastly, we've updated and improved the memory management capabilities to support a more stable and reliable environment. And now let's talk about Java. With Release 15.0, you can now support the latest version of Java Enterprise Edition technology with JBoss Enterprise Application Platform EAP 6.1. We've also improved accessibility, and now OpenDTP clients and services can be accessed from JBoss EAP 6. And now I'll share some updates we've made in communications and networking. In this release, we've made some significant updates to our communications capabilities as listed on this slide, specifically in the area of security. And this leads us to talk about our feature updates in the area of security. So OS 2200 is known for its focus on security. And in this release, we have quite a few new ways to help customers stay secure. First, let's talk about something we call Apex. Apex is a new GUI tool we've introduced in Release 15.0. It consolidates administrative tasks that have traditionally been performed using various Unisys-provided and user-developed utilities and processes into one easy interface. The ultimate goal of Apex is to enhance the administration of OS 2200 systems to the point that less experienced users can effectively manage a system. Apex offers a familiar web-based tool rather than having to teach new users how to use traditional tools. This will let you reduce your costs by using common resources for administrative tasks across the entire data center, and will enhance your ability to service and support OS 2200 in the future. Initially, Apex will focus on security and administration of users, but the long-term vision for Apex is to expand to encompass all OS 2200 security administration, file and storage administration, software administration, and other areas. The goal is to free up the administrator from low-level interfaces that are now required for OS 2200 system administration. Note that Apex doesn't change the concept of OS 2200 security administration, but it does simplify the interaction with the system for configuring and monitoring security. And you don't have to be an OS 2200 expert to use this tool. Apex 1.0 complements the features of TeamQuest Simon and the Unisys Security Administration product. It does not replace them. There are some new reports in Apex that provide additional information beyond what the reporting in Simon and Security Admin have today. And here's a sample screenshot from Apex. As you can see, it's very simple and would be familiar to anyone who's ever filled out an online form. And now let's talk about Secure by Default. With the new Secure by Default feature, you can take advantage of the new, more secure default system value settings, reducing the amount of configuration that you must do in order to get your OS 2200 system up and running. Several system default values now align with the best security practices that have evolved in the industry, making the system as a whole more secure. Using select settings, Secure by Default allows you to easily maintain higher security levels without having to manually configure your system to the more secure level. And here's an example of what Secure by Default deals with. As you can see, you don't need to manually configure the system for high security, but you can change the settings to less secure settings if you choose to do that. With this launch, we'd like to introduce you to a new software product called Application Integration Services, or AIS. AIS is a new product designed to make cross-platform application development easier. And in this release, AIS will allow inbound .NET calls to OS 2200 file access, and we're planning to add many new features to AIS in the future. We have many more details and presentations around the topics we discussed, so I encourage you to go ahead and review those if you want to learn more. And now I'd like to hand the presentation over to Ritva, who will tell you more about these resources and how to find them.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Ritva Kangasperko, and we're going to talk about information sources here. So first of all, let's look at a little bit what we have done 2014. We had the base launch in January. We had OS 2200 Release 15 in February. There were 3 very, very interesting webinars done, and the recordings are available. We had ClearPath ePortal 6.0. Also very interesting, there was a demo showing how you can integrate your ClearPath applications with the smartphone apps. I found it very interesting. And here we are, June 17, we are launching the new Dorado systems, I should say the new beautiful Dorado systems. So let's look at a little bit where you can get information. Unisys.com has been loaded with all the new pages for the new systems. You can find specification sheets there and the new brochures there. It's all live. Emails, hopefully you have received an email from us. If not, there is a link here where you can go and register to get emails. ClearPath Connection is dedicated now for this launch for all these new fabric-based systems. Webinars and the recordings, we do quite a lot. We keep the recordings available for you, and they are conveniently posted so that you can find all the Dorado webinars in one place. Social media then. We do ClearPath blog. There is going to be today a new blog entry. There's been quite a lot of blog activity, very interesting, different people, different views. These are very personal ones. We have a ClearPath YouTube, and then we use the corporate handle, corporate Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And you should have seen, if you visit these places, you should have seen quite an activity. We do press releases. We've done 3 that are OS 2200 and Dorado related this year. One is the Release 15, OS 2200 Release 15, and ePortal, and now these new systems. We do ebooks, we do high-level collateral, and we do technical collateral. So these are kind of ways to find out about. And we're using social media as a standard today. Anything new we have to tell you, it's going to be in one of these or all of them. Now, newsletters. So while we've been broadcasting, the ClearPath connection has been sent out. You should have received it. And the new ClearPath connection newsletter is totally dedicated for this launch. There is a lead article about from Brian Herculo, committed to your success today and tomorrow. There is a fabric article, fabric-based systems. What does that mean? So one article just for that. New ClearPath Dorado systems, new Libra systems, and also announcing a new tool. And I want to point out it's a tool called ClearPath Application Integration Services. And if you are wondering what happened to OS 2200 Release 15, it's in the previous newsletter because it's already there. And this is available in Spanish, Portuguese, and French, and also in English. So hopefully you have that in your mailbox today. And if not, then I can help you to subscribe it. ClearPath ebooks. We have done a new ebook called Understanding the Economics of the ClearPath Systems. It's brand new, and it is kind of a related to the white paper with the same name that Peter Bai did that many people find very good. But it's particularly geared for those people who are financially oriented. We have done a heavy update, more or less redone the how to shift your IT focus from administration to innovation. It's about our services. So these ebooks are meant for new people and maybe C-level and management level people who don't, and also for people who don't have that much time to read. New collateral, yoo-hoo, here we are. So this morning the press release was done. It's available on unisys.com. There has been some press briefings. The ClearPath connection, done, sent out, available. Then we have 4 new brochures. One, ClearPath Executive Overview. It's for these new fabric-based systems. Then we have these kind of brief, they're one-pagers. They're very short, but I like them a lot. One is called ClearPath Fabric-based systems. It's basically introducing the platforms. One is ensuring a continuity of ClearPath skills today and tomorrow. I like that a lot. I like them all, let's face it. And then about this new tool called ClearPath Application Services, simplifying cross-platform development. And when you get this presentation, when we post this presentation on unisys.com, then this will be all embedded links. So you can just go to the presentation and click and you get the press release, or you get to these new brochures. I should say that all these new brochures are available on unisys.com right now. We are almost done with the white paper and ebook, so those will be available in July. Okay, so just a couple of words about achieving workforce continuity. So there are lots of things, and we just kind of want to point some of these things. Maybe you have lots of new people, and so how do you kind of achieve the continuity? There are a couple of things you can do, actually many things you can do. One is the customer education that we offer. You can train your employees about application development, about the ClearPath environments, the system management, databases, and the middleware, all that stuff. And we have catalogs available, and we have a really rich set of training available today. And second element is services. The services can be tailored for you to address your business requirements, the technical requirements, to help you with those. And there is quite a lot of those kind of services available, from ClearPath advisory services to ClearPath application modernization services to ClearPath managed services. The third element is the tools and products. And we have this incredibly rich set of industry standard middleware. And with this release, as you just heard Sam saying, we added a new tool. And let me also say, we will be adding additional tools. We are busy working those. So we already have this great set of tools that help you to develop, manage, and deploy using industry standard skills and tools. The fourth element is application discovery. We can help you to document your application so you can transfer the knowledge of the business processes within these applications to your new employees. We can help you with that. We have services, and we can help you with the tools. And actually, there is the fifth element. I'm sure there is 10 elements, but these new systems are also much more easier, and the infrastructure they offer is kind of a fifth element here, fifth dimension maybe. I do want to point out a little bit about the customer education. We have the OS 2200, especially Partitions course catalog, lots of courses there. We have the OS 2200 course catalog. So they can be classroom training, either at your site or at our facility somewhere. or it can be self-paced training. It can be industry-led. Did I say industry-led? I meant instructor-led web-based training. And I just want to point out that what I'm seeing, that we are tailoring, making the entire training plans that are client-specific. And that's what is my observation of what's happening. Then, I hope you have seen our emails. And if you haven't, if you go to unisys.com, there's something called My Unisys where you can register, or any of us can help you with this. So basically getting emails. All righty. And with that, I am handing over to Isaac Levy.
Oh, thank you, Ritva. Isaac Levy here. I'm the Global Director for ClearPath Services. And today I'm going to briefly talk about our portfolio of services that are tailored specifically to our ClearPath clients, and then focus on our application modernization services to bring this webinar home. So many of our clients tell us that their goal is faster, cost-effective, and responsive IT. But do you see yourself in this picture? You know, today's reality is that the CIO has to align IT delivery with business goals and objectives. But do you find yourself facing these challenges in your organization? Challenges like cost. You need to maximize your overall IT budget, which seems to get scarcer every year. Now, your mobile users may want access right now to enterprise applications, but that might have you looking at a long development cycle. You know, all of you have significant investments tied up in your legacy applications, and these may have become very complex or neglected or undocumented over the years. But you need to retain the value of all that custom business logic that differentiates you from your competition. But you might wonder how. And application modernization using ClearPath application services can certainly help there. You're being pressured likely by your CEO to drive to modernization, whatever that means, and x86 technology, but you may be worried about exposing yourself and your business to unknown risks. And that means you may be worried that if you migrate to different applications and systems, the costs will be high and the risks will be higher. And most importantly and pervasively, many of our customers have told us that they're worried about brain drain. They're worried that the people that maintain and operate their legacy applications and ClearPath systems may leave their IT organization in the near term through retirement or other forms of attrition. Now, CIOs know that their top business drivers are cost containment, accelerating business processes, and optimizing their existing investments. In order to contain costs, many CIOs already know they need to understand total costs, not just hardware acquisition and licensing costs. Otherwise, they can't make good decisions on IT spend. And migrations, remember, can be very costly and risky. So to accelerate business processes, you need to be able to develop new applications that take advantage of your existing applications and data. And now you have to rapidly satisfy the needs of mobile users using iPads and cell phones and other tablets, other mobile devices. Now, you might like to use more automation to reduce human error because you can't afford mistakes and downtime to get in the way of business continuity. And most importantly, you have a large investment in your mission-critical enterprise applications. But you're probably concerned about two things: how to preserve these applications for the long term, which means replacing skills as your experts leave or retire. And how do you maximize the use of what you've already paid for? You've heard about how many valuable tools are in the ClearPath integrated stack, but maybe you're not leveraging enough of these ClearPath technologies to improve applications integration, reduce costs, and address new market trends. Or maybe you don't even know how much value you've already licensed. Perhaps you're paying for other management and development tools you don't really need. So how can you balance IT drivers and mission-critical applications challenges? You know, Unisys can help. We can help you leverage your investments in ClearPath by showing you how to make best use of the modernization, integration, and automation technologies that are already included with ClearPath, including technologies such as ePortal, the other specialty engines, and especially the forward fabric architecture included with the new ClearPath systems that securely supports high-volume Linux and Windows workloads. We can help you develop, deploy, and operate ClearPath applications and systems using industry-standard skills and tools. We can help you increase the skills base that supports your mission-critical applications. You know, we provide an extensive set of integration technologies and modern development environments that let you leverage IT skills readily available in the marketplace. We, Unisys, have a unique ability to support ClearPath technologies and applications based on our deep expertise and experience. Nobody knows more about ClearPath than Unisys. So we're here to help guide you to address your current and long-term concerns to lend a helping, trusted hand in your modernization initiatives. We can help you by applying our portfolio of ClearPath mission-critical services. That's an integrated and holistic set of services that focus on ClearPath and your needs as a ClearPath customer. We start with ClearPath advisory services that help you value and select the best IT initiatives and projects. Our ClearPath services portfolio also includes technology consulting services and technology support services, ClearPath operational services, and ClearPath applications, modernization, and outsourcing services. We take a modular approach, letting you select the services elements you need when you need them. These services evolve with your needs over time. And today, we'll focus on ClearPath application modernization services. So, modernization of business applications where you use key enabling trends as opposed to costly and risky rip and replace initiatives can significantly improve project success rates while providing a superior return on investment with a fraction of the implementation risk. ClearPath application modernization services help you strategically prioritize and deliver modernization initiatives that protect your existing investments in enterprise applications while leveraging disruptive IT trends and capabilities, things like SOA or service-oriented architecture, web enablement, business process management, next-generation mobile enablement, and application integration, all supported by modern development environments. We focus on modernizing mission-critical business applications to extend the life of your existing investments. You know, application modernization is a journey of transformation. Transformation from an as-is state in which your current or future needs aren't completely met to a future to-be state in which your organizational needs are addressed and met. Now, for ClearPath customers, this often means leveraging best use of ClearPath databases, development environments, integration tools, and other valuable ClearPath technologies, things like ePortal and JProcessor. Part of this transformation can be better integration of Linux and Windows workloads with ClearPath, taking advantage of the unique fabric architecture and forward partitions included with the new ClearPath systems. So in our application modernization services portfolio, we include ClearPath transformation services. And if you look on the right, you see that that includes application optimization services, ClearPath re-architecting, which includes bringing the Linux and Windows workloads that are associated tightly or loosely coupled with ClearPath into the ClearPath complex using the forward fabric architecture. ClearPath modernization and integration services, and SOA, or service-oriented architecture, design, and implementation services. We also include in our portfolio ClearPath mobility application services to help you take advantage of rapid mobile applications integration and applications refacing for a mobile world and for web services using ePortal and other technologies. We also include our Agile Business Suite services, business information server services, and customer program management. If you have a large, complex engagement, it makes sense to have a single point of contact and a way of managing the entire program, and that's what our customer program management offering is all about. So our portfolio of ClearPath application modernization services helps align your IT applications initiatives with the needs of your business. So that helps reduce risk, it helps you reduce costs, and increases business agility. Let's talk about what one customer has done using ClearPath application modernization services. The General Services Administration, or GSA, is a U.S. federal agency similar to many other ClearPath customers, though perhaps larger than many. It's a $40-plus billion enterprise running over 80 major applications. They have over 200 technologies in use, and on ClearPath systems, they're running over 7 million lines of code. They're a hub for many other agencies, and they utilize ClearPath Libra infrastructure in a multi-vendor, multi-platform agency. They had some challenges for application modernization and to better leverage their ClearPath investments. So over the years, we've supported and helped deliver a variety of application modernization initiatives at the GSA. That started in 2000 with web enablement, progressing over the years to high availability, Java support through use of JProcessor, mobile enablement using ePortal, successfully providing new web services, a search engine, and content management systems. Now, recently, GSA's business issue was the need to streamline their web and mobile environments to provide web and mobile enablement. And they had a requirement for web-based applications, web services, and mobile enablement on ClearPath using cutting-edge technologies to enhance the ROI of their ClearPath applications. And so our response was to deliver ClearPath application modernization services by applying a variety of web and mobile techniques, using the JProcessor and ePortal technologies through delivery of ClearPath application modernization services. First, their COBOL applications were web-enabled using ePortal and WebPCM technologies on ClearPath. And those COBOL applications were exposed as web services to the external world using ePortal and MGS web tools. Elements of the GSA's fleet management system were mobile-enabled using ePortal. This is a really cool thing, so that they can use handheld devices to manage their mobile fleet in real time rather than through batch uploads at night. Java Enterprise Edition JBoss applications were introduced on the JProcessor, and a proof of concept was done using Drupal content management and PHP access to DMS2. And now we're working with them looking at JasperSoft open source business intelligence reporting tooling on the JProcessor to connect DMS2 using the JDBC driver and SQL query processor. So why did the GSA choose ClearPath Java? Well, they wanted to consolidate their applications on ClearPath and to achieve more effective ROI from ClearPath, and have the ability for ClearPath to act as an open system in their enterprise. And so the way the customer benefited from the solution was they were able to consolidate their applications onto a single environment on ClearPath. In fact, over the years, GSA has moved existing workloads from other environments to ClearPath. GSA were able to uplift and enhance their user interfaces using cutting-edge technologies like JProcessor and ePortal. They were able to add business-critical functionalities to applications with greatly enhanced agility. They reduced costs and saved taxpayer money, and that extended their use of the scalability, reliability, and security of ClearPath. And those solutions also eliminated the risks involved in migration of applications and functionality to other platforms. And so I'd like to leave you with a closing thought. You've already invested in ClearPath. We, Unisys, can help you make best use of the technologies and tools that are included with ClearPath through our ClearPath services, including and especially our ClearPath application modernization services, to improve the TCO and ROI of your technology investments, and to help you sustain the value of your mission-critical applications and operations for the long term. Well, I'd like to thank you for listening, and I'd like to hand back over to Brian Herkelo at this point.
Thanks, Isaac. Matt, I believe we do have a few questions. If you wanted to direct them to us, I believe we can answer them.
Excellent. Thank you, Brian. That does bring us to the Q&A portion of the presentation for today. Again, if you do have questions for our presenters, you can send those using the question box on the lower right-hand side of the menu toolbar. With respect to time, we'll get to as many of these as we can. I know we are running just a little bit over for our allotted time that we had today. But the first question that I have for our panelist presenters is, does the first ISM have to be ePortal, or could it be run, or could it be the URU EOM version?
Yeah, this is Bob LaFleur. I'll answer that. The first ISM does have to be the ePortal version. That's the way we've built the systems and configured the primary ISM in the partition. You do, with each system, however, get the EPP, which again is capable of running any Windows workload, which would include EOM and URU. So even in a single ISM configuration, you would be able to run those additional workloads just on the EPP as opposed to the ISM.
Excellent, thank you. And the next question we had come across is Unisys able to perform concurrent non-disruptive firmware plateau upgrades on the new ClearPath systems?
So this is Sam. I can take this one. The answer to that is yes, but it really depends on the configuration. So with the HA processor node configuration, and if you have redundant I/O processors, the firmware can be updated on idle nodes while the remaining nodes process the workloads. In most cases, it really depends on your configuration.
Okay, great. Thank you, Sam. The next question we have is, are they fully dual corded?
I believe that means if they've got dual power inputs, and the answer is yes. They can be hooked into separate power sources within the data centers to add additional resiliency.
Excellent, thank you. And then, as I mentioned, we are running just a little bit short on time, so this will be the last question that we have time for today, and that is, will Apex provide some kind of command line or ECL-based interface?
This is Sam again. I can take this one. So Apex is really a GUI tool for security management, and we don't really have plans to provide an ECL command line interface in Apex, but we are going to continue to support Security Manager, which resides on OS 2200, and Apex converses with that. So that can be used as the command line tool if you don't want to use the GUI tool Apex.
Perfect. Thank you, Sam. And then, as I mentioned, that is all the questions that we do have time for today. Again, if we didn't get to your questions during the live session, we will be following up with you via email. With that, I'd like to just send it back to Brian for any closing statements that you have for the audience.
Just very quickly, Matt, I'd certainly like to thank everybody for joining us today. We hope the information was informative, and any questions that do come to mind, please get to your Unisys representatives, and we will answer them as quickly as we can. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate your time.
Excellent. And I'd like to go ahead and thank everyone for another fantastic presentation. That does conclude today's event. The recorded version of today's webinar will be made available for download on the Unisys website. And as you exit the webinar, please be sure to fill out a brief survey and give us your feedback. Again, I would like to thank everyone for attending, and have a great day.